Hi everybody, my name's Cindy and I craft here at Upcycled Design Lab. If you're new here, it's a place where I experiment with recycled materials to make new things. And for today's project, I'm going to be making a colorful Easter sign using some old wood fence pieces. So if you like crafting with recycled materials, I hope you'll subscribe to this YouTube channel and also check the bell icon to get notifications when I upload new videos. Also, be sure to stay tuned. At the end of this video, I will show you all of my upcycled Easter decorations, and you can find links to all of those projects in the comment section of this video. So to make this wooden sign, you need some wood, and we just happen to have a blizzard here in Colorado, and our fence fell down, so I have a whole lot of fence posts, and they're very rough. This is actually what the fence looked like. It's kind of this gray color. It's a little bit darker on this side, but in order to do the staining part, you need to have some pretty light wood. So on this side, I've treated the wood with some bleach, and all you need to do that is use a nice synthetic brush on some bleach, make sure you let the wood dry completely, and you can put on as much as you want, but it does get to a point where it's not going to get any lighter, but you can see the results pretty quickly. So I've gone ahead and I've cut all of my wood to the lengths that I want. I've done a little bit of sanding on them to get the roughest edges off, and I've gone ahead and bleached all of them so that they will take the stain. To make my stain colors, I'm going to use this Minwax Wood Finish Natural Stain, and I also have a set of oil-based paints that I bought for I think less than $10 at Joann Fabrics. So I'm going to use about an eighth of a cup of the stain, and 3 good squeezes of paint seems to be a good color combination to mix the stain colors. So here's my test piece of wood. I just wanted to make sure that I had some nice colors, and I did end up having to add more paint to the yellow. It didn't turn out very dark. So I have a nice red, a yellow, a blue, a green, and an orange that I'm going to be using in this project. So here are my first 3 pieces of wood, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to stain the other 2 colors. For these 2 boards, I'm going to be using an orange color and a green color to color the stain, and I've already mixed the colors. So you can see I have about an eighth of a cup of natural stain in the cup, and then I've put about 3 squeezes of the orange paint. You can see I didn't use a lot of it. It was new when I started, but it still has quite a bit of paint in there. The one thing I will say about mixing the paints is that it takes quite a lot of vigorous mixing initially to get it all mixed in. And if you let it sit for a while, you're going to want to mix it up again. But you just want to make sure that you've gotten all of the paint broken down and mixed into the stain. So I'm just going to use a foam brush to apply this color. And some of them, when they initially go on, you can't see the color as well as after they dry a little bit. That's when you can actually see the real color come through. So I'm going to go ahead and stain this first piece orange and the second piece green. And I'm protecting my table with a old grocery bag. I just cut it up and laid it down so that I don't get stain all over my table. And because this is such old wood, it's pretty thirsty. I think it's going to take a lot of the stain color. For this next step, we're going to be making a stencil out of some painter's tape, and also you need a sheet of parchment paper. You're going to want something to cut on, and then you want your template. So I've just printed out my word here that I want to use, and I'm going to go ahead and I've already pre-cut my parchment paper so I know exactly what size it needs to be. So what I want to do is I want to cover my parchment paper with the painter's tape. And the reason we use the parchment paper is just to protect the sticky side of the painter's tape so that it will adhere to the project that you're working on. And I like to start kind of in the middle and just work out to the edges. You do want to put the tape down all the way onto the mat because it won't really stick to the parchment paper. I'm kind of crooked here, but basically all I'm going to do is just overlap the tape so that it sticks to itself, and I want to just make sure that I cover the whole piece of parchment paper. Got it a little loose here. You just want to make sure that it's smooth and not buckling. And then I'm just going to lay my template on top. And because I want to make this into a stencil, I want to keep the outside of the tape intact. So I'm going to cut out the H, the O, and the P, and then lay down the whole stencil as one piece. So I'm just going to tape down the stencil in a few spots, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out with the X-Acto knife. And because I'm using the outside of, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I'm going to be using this part of the tape to make the stencil, so this will be the painted part. I'm going to need to save the circle inside the O and inside the P. So it's all taped in place, and I'm just going to use the cutting board. I'm going to spin and move the cutting board as I need to in order to do the cutting, because I don't want to move my whole piece of tape here. So here's my template, and once I'm ready to actually apply it to the wood piece, I'm just going to take the paper off, but right now I'm using the tape and everything just to hold it in shape. So I'm ready to apply the template to the wood, but before I do that I want to make sure that the tape is going to stick, because we've applied an oily stain to it. So this has been sitting for about 24 hours. And I'm just doing a little test area with tape to make sure that the tape is going to stick. Right after the stain I tried it and the tape just curled right up. So you want to make sure that your template's going to stick. So just do a quick test spot. And then the other thing before we apply the template is I've kind of used my test piece and I've gone ahead and just found a matching acrylic paint color, and I just put a little test spot here to make sure I liked the color combination, because I'm doing kind of a tone-on-tone design. And the last thing is that you can buy stencil brushes. I have one and I really don't like using it, so I'm going to go ahead and just use my stiff paintbrush that I use for a lot of other projects. So I'm carefully going to take my template off of the cutting mat and just try to line it up as best I can onto my wood. For the final step, I'm just going to add a coat of the Minwax Polycoat clear gloss finish. So here's my finished fence post sign. I went ahead and outlined the eggs with a white gel pen, and I thought about doing the letters too, but I decided to leave it. So now I'm going to show you the whole mantle. This is a silly little bunny that I made out of a book a few years ago. My paper mache eggs and the eco-friendly Easter grass. Here's one of my little plastic bag chicks. There's some more over here. And I keep using my puffy white frame. I made it for Valentine's Day, but I just keep using it because I think it's hilarious and fun. So I just put a paper bunny in it. Here's my eggshell bunny silhouette. Some more eggs and a few more chicks over here. And this is the Easter basket made out of the cereal box. I also left out my candle that I made for St. Patrick's Day. I put some split peas on the bottom and made a little stand for it out of a tin can lid and some marbles. And then last we have the paper bunny garland. So this is the whole mantle here. And I will link to all the projects in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoy crafting with recycled materials, I hope you'll consider subscribing to this YouTube channel and also checking out my blog at www.upcycleddesignlab.com.